This will go now. Dang. Good afternoon to everybody watching this video. You know who it is. I'm tired of saying my name over and over again, but I do got my name wrote in a different font, so a lot of people probably don't even know the newcomers. It's PR Corey, so I am gonna say it for that sake, for that essence. But as you can see by the name of the title, this is a class refreshment video, and what I mean by that is that I'm refreshing people who are new to the channel or were not around when I was explaining certain stuff, so they might not know the full ins and outs of the significance of 45 degrees and this grand discovery that I made dealing with cosmology, history, time, mathematics in general, arithmetic, if you know, just in numbers in general, reality in general. So I am gonna make this video here now and replay the they don't have it to where it's gonna be a copyright strike or nothing like that. And I'm also not claiming to have any type of ownership of anything shown in this coming video. But I do want to replay this video for the people who question about the Nazca Estrellas and haven't taken their time themselves to look into it and see exactly what it means. And that'll be all we're doing today. Part of what I'm doing, this is going to help keep me up while I'm sitting up here working on my project. So y'all let this play. Let me find it first. Make sure to share the screen. To shout out this channel as well, to give them their credits partially. Ambio Productions is the name of the channel. But all you really have to do is type in Nazca Estrella and it's the first search suggestion. If there are any questions that anybody has during the playing of this, don't be afraid to ask them. I will answer them. I'll be checking for them at any time. Any suggestions or questions, anything like that, I will be answering that.
The Nazca Lines are one of the most intriguing mysteries of ancient Peru. Thousands of geometric shapes, trapezoids, lines, strips, and spirals have been drawn on the desert surface for unknown purposes. Many people are familiar with the outlines of the most famous giant drawings: a spider, a condor, and a monkey. The question that has always puzzled archaeologists and others who study the history of South America is, how did they get there? Who made the Nazca Lines? Why were they made, and made with such precision? The first real reports of the lines came from Peruvian military and civilian pilots who flew over the area in the 1920s. Located in southern Peru on the Nazca Plateau, the Nazca Lines are pre-Columbian geoglyphs, or large designs or drawings that have been etched into the desert sands. Nearly 300 of them have been discovered so far, and many consist of plants or animals such as a hummingbird, spider, fish, lizard, dog, and a human. Other shapes include trees and flowers. They cover an area of roughly 1,000 square kilometers or 386 square miles. Some of them can only be spotted from the air, while others can be distinguished from surrounding.
I think my mic was just muted on accident. I can't go back. I can't remember whether I unmuted it or not. But if y'all didn't hear me, what I was saying was, I'm sorry about that. I think it was actually muted. But it's been a while since the last time that the Nazca lines were brought up. And I just wanted to mention and show people that when I was upon thinking about it, it really shows that a lot of people be listening in. How, I don't know, because I haven't seen Taz subscribe over here, but he's the person who brought it up on Sanchez's panel. He brought up the Nazca lines right after I was showing my studies and all of the work I had been doing. He brought it up and asked Sanchez what did he think about, or what are the Nazca lines. Sanchez didn't even know what the Nazca lines were at that point. He didn't even know Nazca was a city when I came up there the second time a little while later. So I'm saying that not putting myself above anybody or anything. What I'm saying and showing with this statement and mentioning this is that I see that people be listening and because it has not been brought up since. And I don't get on the panel anymore, and I ain't been showcasing my work. And one of the main reasons that I don't get on the panel and showcase my work is because when I was trying to do that and trying to explain my stuff, at one point, it was brought up every time I was trying to explain it to him with him on there. He was like, you trying to explain your work and stuff like that. You really, it's not debating. It's really you trying to explain, but I have to use my work in order to debate. I think that's what part of makes it's kind of, it makes people unfair because they're not able to do. That's why I say it's a jealousy type of energy going on with that I sense in certain things. I'm not just staying stuck on it. I'm just saying if it happened, it happened. It's just the truth. And that's what has happened. And that's just how I take that, because every time I would try to use my work, it would you just trying to explain your work. Well, how am I going to debate you about what you're saying about the tetragrammaton, which was what was talked about at that point? How can I debate you about your tetragrammaton information when my work literally goes into the tetragrammaton and is my argumentative argument that I was saying at that point? It validifies parts of the tetragrammaton beyond what anybody else had been showing. And I have shown that in over here on my channel at least. But it's just when you got that much evidence right there that you can't even argue with what I'm showing, as far as that tetragrammaton aspect. But I had thought about that, how nobody else had brought up the Nazca lines ever since that point in time. Very significant, because I noted that was because of me and the information that I've been bringing. Because nobody on, mind you, he's been streaming for years over there, but nobody has ever brought it up at all. Nobody. And that's very significant. That lets them know that it's because of me.
Foothills and other high places. They are believed to have been created around 500 BC, but that is just an estimate. The Nazca Lines have puzzled archaeologists, historians, mathematicians, and others who have studied them extensively for decades. But few people know about the existence of another set of huge drawings that were only just recently discovered. The first of these were spotted by tourists who were flying over the Nazca Plateau in the 1990s. They are located between the Nazca Plateau and the city of Palpa. These geoglyphs are remarkably different from the Nazca Lines. They are known as estrellas, or stars. This is what they look like from the air. These drawings or designs are nothing.
This right here is the very star that y'all have been seeing me work on. It's called the Estrella, the Sun, Star, and Cross. Now, at the end of the day, I wanted to mention as well, if anybody thinks that any of these stars were created just for the purpose of tourist attraction or anything like that, I want you to first off think about the fact that people, you have to only be able to see these from the air. Okay. So I want to disclose that real quick. This is whenever they go view these lines, they get in a plane, and these planes have it's not even a full capacity plane. It houses up to, I think, no more than 6 people on the plane at a time is what I've seen at a time. So if it was a tourist attraction or made to, it's not like the Great Pyramids where a lot of people can pay admission to come see them. It's very, this right here is not getting a lot of money at the end of the day. So when people made these, it's also something that could be destroyed by a windstorm if a windstorm did come through, but it's never been destroyed. And this also goes into that time travel aspect, because how did these people know where to actually put this when it comes down to this blueprint or layout of these stars at the end of the day? How did they know you got other places in the world that have sand as well, but how did they know to put these in this place and that no weathering would ever bother this place unless they have been watching the area for a very long time? That's the only way that you can know that weather won't bother a place in the future, is if you watched it for a very long time in the past up until the present point. I just wanted to let that be known.
These drawings or designs are nothing like the traditional Nazca geoglyphs. These designs represent geometric and other mathematical equations that consist of circles, squares, and points. It is hard to make out these designs from the surface. They look like sloppy and uneven rows of stones and lines that could have been drawn by dragging a foot or a stick. Stones or heaps of stones have been piled at various locations. Ancient and rotted poles have also been placed at the site of the estrellas, which may or may not have been used by the builders. This is one of the largest designs ever discovered in Peru. It is more than 130 meters or 142 yards in size. From a ground level view, it is nearly impossible to understand what is depicted. Academic science has largely ignored it. Some even call it nothing more than a tourist trap, which can be easy to understand. Yet, there are some who believe that whatever is depicted here has a much deeper meaning. As it turns out, this is not the only image of this kind. On the edge of this plateau is another similar design that was also just recently discovered. The design is marked on maps, and locals call it the Mandala. It is similar to the mandala designs of ancient India, and it means a circle or geometric design that holds a great deal of symbolism in Hindu and Buddhist cultures. Its size is about 120 meters or 131 yards wide. In detail, it differs from an estrella. Parts of it are very uneven, and another part is located at the bottom of the gorge. At the same time, the proportions of this geoglyph are very precise. The outline of it looks perfect when viewed from above, and its construction is very complex.
So if I mention this right here real quick, this will take me about 20 seconds, and I'll let this play and let y'all continue to see it. I'm going to count every single one that we have, all right? I want y'all to consider when did this stuff go down as far as COVID, all right? There's 19 of these stars, 19 of them that they count. And this right here, every last one of them is at 45 degrees. How many different type of stars do you have, people? Y'all just think about that. You got 3-point stars, which is a triangle. You can make a star out of that. 4-point stars, which is the Steelers type of star. 5-point stars, which is actually more revered than anything. 6-point stars, which is the triangle. That's very easy to make. But y'all mean to tell me that there's no significance, that they was not? Whenever you're looking for that, and I went over 20 seconds, I apologize, but it's only be a few more seconds. Whenever there's anything where you're trying to decode a message, this go like for instance, when I'm typing in code, if you wanted to try to figure out, if the FBI, CIA wanted to try to figure out what it is I'm saying, you know how one of the first methods that you utilize frequency analysis. That's when you pay attention to what is used the most in order to crack it. You look at the characters that are used the most in order to crack it, because that's what's being used in order to communicate. So every one of these, if you look, the fact is, one thing that we know based on what is communicating something, that's a fact. Anytime that you utilize geometry, it's communicating something. That's why I tell a lot of people that geometry is a language, literally, because every little what changes the difference between every letter? The geometry, the metrics of it, the shape of the letters. And that's what causes the difference in communication. The main thing that is communicated, the only thing that is communicated that is a consistent frequency between every last one of these stars that y'all see is 45 degrees, the 45-degree angle. That's all I got to say on that. And you can look at that yourself. And for those who don't know how to calculate a 45-degree angle, 90 degrees is up and down. A perpendicular angle is a plus sign, basically. It's very easy to calculate 45 degrees whenever you can look at something and it's halfway perfectly in between what would be a horizon line and a perfectly vertical line. It's that easy. It's not hard. It'll make a perfect square. That's how you calculate 45 degrees.
Located next to this creation is yet another interesting and perplexing design. It connects to both sides of a canyon. Located at each end, there are depictions of small stars. Located in the middle is a large star with 16 rays of light or sunlight protruding from it. Keep this in mind, as it is similar to another design that will be shown later. During a flight over the Palpa area in 2010, we were fortunate enough to find several similar images in the same area. These are rather large and complex designs and not always completely visible at first. They cannot be seen from satellite views of the area, and they are nearly impossible to spot from an airplane. The images only come into view with high-resolution photos. Part of this design can be seen through these pictures. A similar design with a much more complex pattern is located a few hundred feet away. In both cases, the design of each creation can only be spotted from the air. A bird's eye view of this design offers a different perspective, and the existence of this creation only creates more questions and mystery. This might be the most difficult and creative geoglyph on the Nazca Plateau. The center of this design is clearly visible. There are 8 layered circles in total. The width of the central section is 35 meters or 114 feet. The width of the design is about 200 meters or 218 yards, about the length of 2 football fields. This is another view of the design. It is located near the crossroad. The center of the design is clearly visible, as well as a portion of the circles that are plotted on the diameter. The construction of this segment. The center of the design is clearly visible, as well as a portion of the circles that are plotted.
Now, the one that he had just mentioned just before, I think this is actually still the same one that he's on. No, it might not be. But either way it goes, it still goes. He mentioned the circle, 8 circles layered upon each other, right? And I think that, hold on, let me count these. 1, 2, 4, my eyes, 6. This is the 8 circles that he's talking about. Yeah, that's the 8 circles he's talking about. Yeah, this is the one, the same one then. This is 45 degrees right here. But I was going to say at first, 360 divided by 8. Y'all do your homework. I'll just let y'all do, because it's 45. Okay. They are communicating 45 degrees at the highest essence, man. And if there's any proof on this earth of ancient, and that's where the question does come in. Yes, and I would give anybody that as far as how old these lines are. I don't know. I'm not going to act like I know. I'm just using common sense. And I know that if a dust storm, a storm came through, most of these lines would not be visible to this day. And that's why I mentioned that they had to have watched the land. If they are ancient, they had to have had a time, some type of method or way to know that this particular area of the earth would not be affected by any type of weather. And there's the tears. Like I said, spiritually, when I get tears, it let me know I might be on to something. So now that right there makes me think. I've mentioned to y'all something called an aviation radar. They just said that these lines could only be seen from the sky. They just mentioned that several times, a few times just there. So they can only be seen from the sky. What is another word for flying? And shout out to Adrian Kenyon, who has dropped a comment. What is the only way that something, what is another word for flying? It's called aviation. Okay. So aviation is the only way that these lines can be seen. I looked up something called, go to the internet real quick for y'all. Hold on. I'm waiting on it. I can't remember the name. It was a branded one that I was looking for, a specific one. There it is. I knew I wouldn't remember it. And look at this design in particular. This right here looks like the center of the Nazca. It's the Chicana, basically. All right. This geometry is highly important. All right. Because whatever this is, and look at this screen. Look at this, and then think about the Nazca Sun Star and cross it. I showed you. I already mentioned in the past that it literally looks like a radar screen that they had. It had dots. It literally looked like a radar screen. If you consider that, that's very important. This is so on point. And nobody on the internet has shown this. So literally, when you look at the Nazca lines, they look just like they're separated into this. You see these circles, but nobody, look, FPV Angel now have not been able to accurately explain the other stars even. They haven't been able to do that. I'm the only person on YouTube has been able to do this. I'm not saying this to brag, like I'm the only I'm saying this because it's extremely significant. When we talk about cosmology, advancing so-called flat earth knowledge, okay, to the next level, me and FPV now have been, and they're a whole team. I'm one person. They are a whole team who has been putting efforts into showing what this Nazca Estrella was communicating. And their grounds is flat earth on that, just like other flat earthers. But we're the only two people that are even talking about the Nazca lines. Everybody else who comes behind us, they're only catching up. That's part of why people are staying away from it as well. Because they don't want it to look like, oh, I'm coming up behind this guy. He got to it first. At the end of the day, we're going to stay stuck in the same spot forever before people just want to. I mean, that's why I tell people there's no way around giving me my credit where it's due. Because you're not going to be able to say anybody else did it at any point. You're not going to ever be able to look at this person, that person, say this person. God gifted me the artistic ability to be able to create exactly what I'm creating. I thank God for it. I thank God for the time that I'm here. And me having a mind to do what I'm doing. There's nobody else on this earth who is going to take that credit or can take that credit. This is highly, and when I say I've heard the term damning evidence a lot in my life, but this right here, this is fit in that category. So when I pull up this Nazca Sun Star and Cross real quick, look at that screen. Look at the one you just look at. Watch this. Nazca Sun Star, and it's right there. Tell me that that's not a similarity. You see, this is the radar over here that I'm saying. You see this? That's what I'm saying. This is like a radar screen, and it's not the only circle. They got another one over there. So whatever it, and they got dots in some particular weird format. Like it's communicating the placement of something. That's one thing that I know for a fact. Now, it would make sense that it's communicating the placement of some type of planetary substance. And the thing is that people wouldn't get, that would be communicating a certain time. That's what people got to realize. The way that the stars and stuff are set up is communicating a macro time. We look at our clocks and watches, the seconds, the minutes, the hours. But when we talk about thousands of years, if you're going to leave a message for thousands of years in the future, you're going to look up there at the original clock. And therefore, if you was going to leave a message about something to happen in the future at a specific time, you would draw out the geometry of that time and the placement of that up there in the sky. It's very easy to comprehend. And what would you need in order to, it would be a radar. Radars tell when something is at, when and where something is at in a particular sector of geometry. X and Y coordinates. I wouldn't say X and Y coordinates. And the reason why is because X and Y usually deals with, and you have to consider the Z axis. Now, you know what? I ain't going to, being that I just said that, I'm going to give you your props for that. I'm glad you mentioned it. Actually, that's a very good, important point that you just mentioned when you think about that. Because the Z axis, I can tell you for sure, is the 45-degree axis. The z-axis is 45 degrees. X and Y are up and down 90 degrees. Okay, so, and the reason why I say I'm gonna give you that is everything 45 degrees is being communicated right there. As far as the stars, the X and Y axis is the, so I definitely, I'm gonna give you that actually. That's, so when I say I wouldn't say that, it was a reason originally why I said that, but then when I thought about it, I was like, might be a good point. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and let this video continue to play from where it was at. Z-axis is time, space, 3D. That's right, absolutely right. That's right. That's that corner from the cube. That's the corner from the front to that's the center space of the, let me pull that up real quick. You're right. You're absolutely right on that. Okay. So a cube from the corner, that's why I said hex to shorten hexagon. But whenever you look at a cube is also a square. It's just it's a three-dimensional square from a different view. And whenever you look at a cube from this particular corner, like this, the back corner would be at it's going down the center line. And that's 45 degrees. If you got on the front side of this corner that's right here to the back corner that's at the bottom, top right corner at the front to the back left corner at the bottom, if you got in front, that'll make a 45-degree angle right in front of it. That's extremely important because that's communicating what that goes into the bees and their geometry and what they use. That's a Masonic symbol that they use a lot. The bees create hexagons. That very science right there goes into the bees and, how and why they create the geometry they create, because it goes into the same science that I'm using right now, but it's just from a different dimension. Okay. So, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and let this play. I gotta get back to that original screen first.
Plotted on the diameter. The construction of this segment brings up an interesting detail that presents another mystery. The circles and the center of this design are created with rows of stones. On one side, the circles have been constructed with a dotted line that is difficult to spot. This would seem to indicate that the builder or builders used stones that were in the area around them. This brings up an interesting detail about this design. This design is invisible at ground level and still hard to distinguish from a small height, but viewed at a higher angle or elevation, it's clear that the designers created a huge, abstract, geometrically correct figure. That it could not be viewed at ground level or higher angle or elevation did not seem to concern them. Perhaps when the geoglyph was created, all details may have been visible, or perhaps it had been illuminated at some point. The mystery remains as to why it was built to begin with.
Yeah, I hear what he just said. That's very important. I've thought about that even myself. How would they be able to see something like this? In the daytime, you can halfway see it, but in the nighttime, you 0% can see it. But what would 100% make it easy to see in the nighttime is it being illuminated. It's only two ways that you can illuminate something in this world. That's either through electricity or through fire. If they use fire on the ground, that'll make sense. But fire is one of the easiest things as far as free. If you study fire, you can study how to expand free energy. And I mean that. I'm serious. I'm not just saying. Look at my work. Every 4 point, that's fire. Okay. And I'm not just saying stop at my work. Think about fire and how one flame can easily be transported to another rod. If you light one rod on fire, you can easily transport that to a rod that's not even lit up and give it energy. Fire is energy. You just touch it, put it in the same area and circumference, close enough, and then it gets lit up on fire to the same degree that it has its own flame, to the same degree, and sometimes even more than the other one that it came from. And this can continue, this infinitely continues. It would never stop until you get somewhere that the climate doesn't suit it. So when we think about fire and how you can expand that over distance, that would make a lot of sense with this. That would be a great way to illuminate that, like he says, and make it easier to see. The problem is, how would you keep the fire lit? What would be lit on fire? There's no ashes seen at this place. That's important to look at. Footprints ain't even seen there. They was created by people, but even the people who studied the lines, you don't even see their footprints from studying and measuring. So it's a lot to question. When we talk about tourist attraction, how these lines was made, spiritual beings can create something that have enough power and move stuff. Yeah. That's where a lot of people ain't ready for that talk yet. Spirits, yeah, because you ain't even experienced it, so you don't believe, of course. You ain't never saw something move without you seeing, without you moving it with your own eyes. So you don't believe it until you, and I get that. But I'm telling you now that it's not something that's when you talk about alternate, think about how I just mentioned dimensions and the bees and stuff, other dimensions and things like that. If you're not part of that dimension, of course you ain't gonna see it as real. But if it was something beyond this dimension that created these lines, actually, which is something that ain't nobody really questioning, but you got to consider, where are the footprints at? Ghosts don't leave footprints like that. They have an option to. They can, but they have an option to. God, ghosts, spirits, whatever you want to call it, spiritual beings don't. They can float and they can see stuff from the air, which is the only way these can be seen. It's a lot of stuff to consider. But one thing I can tell you for sure is that these ain't no tourist attraction type of thing going on. You can only view these in a freaking plane with a plane. They don't even, you can't get a multi-passenger plane that houses over 6 passengers to view this. The plane they fly around, I ain't seen more than 6 people in it yet. And they would be flying all day, back and forth. This person flies. The pilot would never stop flying if it was really a good money getting attraction type place. This place ain't created for money. It's not created even for everybody to see like that. That's why it was created to be viewed from the air. It's for somebody specific. God, the gods above is what people are saying, but it's obviously what I'm getting at is for something rare, someone rare. They either also knew about aviation, had aviation, of course, but they also probably knew about the technology advancement as well, because technology advancement is another way that this would be able to be seen. So that's why I say, for them to even have known to put this in the place that they put it, they had to have had a way of, through divination, you will be able to know what place on the world, whether a place will have weather hit it or not. Didn't I just mention a weather radar? Think about that. You would have to know where, if you were going to put something in a desert place where dust storms, anything could happen. Think about that. You don't know what they could have did this in their work 100 years, 10 years from then. It could have been a dust storm come through. Water could have been any type of natural disaster, tsunami. This is built right by the shore. Anything could have happened. But if you look into all of the things that I've been saying, everything that I've been mentioning, that goes for divination / fortune telling, that goes for what I just showed as far as the aviation radar. Aviation is flying. The radar, the aviation weather radar at that, is specifically a weather radar. And I just mentioned that you would have to know about weather hitting that area. You would have to know that in order to put it in a wise place. So all of this stuff about time traveling, all of that stuff, yeah, yes. Once you look into this, it's very, very much important to consider. The same people talking about fortune telling and time traveling, it's the same, it's quite crazy how it goes back to the Chinese roots, Hindu roots, all of that type of stuff. It's very crazy. Hot air balloons or remote viewing, both are, yeah, that's it. I even mentioned remote viewing in my previous video. The hot air balloons, Yeah, that ain't no telling, whether the ancients had that in their time or not. I've mentioned it. Some people have said that they did, but a different type, not the exact kind of we got, of course. But the remote viewing thing that goes into the God slash and then if you go into the alien aspect and remote viewing as well, a human here that can go out of body and go out there in the desert and remote view and use their energy in order to create what they create, because that's part of why remote viewing has been talked about being a government weapon. They find out you know how to remote view. That's a superpower like no other, dude. You can get spy information. You can do so much stuff through that right there, and that's why they've knocked people off for that. Literally, they have. I was just watching a documentary on that where they killed the dude for doing that, showing evidence that he could do it at least. So it's, you mentioning some good points. That's all I can tell you. All I know is I'm very on point with this, with the direction, everything that I'm bringing and showing people. I mean, scholars ain't even been able to do this. I'm here from, that's why I say if you can do what you're doing from a bedroom, of course, people who hating on you will be, boy, I'm talking about scared shitting bricks, wondering about if they really hating on you, wondering what you could do if you did leave. I mean, dude, come on now. I'll go out there and measure this stuff. I get contact with the right people, bro. I'm making history. Literally, I am. I ain't just talking. I'm not just another flat earther just talking about the earth flat. I'm not. Real talk. That's why I'm saying it's beyond what y'all, the little bitty stuff. When I say big things popping, man, that's what's going on. I'm gonna keep this going on.
With who or what was it for? What purpose did it have? These are questions that are difficult to answer. Further investigation of the Nazca region continues to yield new discoveries that create even more questions. Some of these designs have appeared in previous videos, but new details have only recently been uncovered.
And I ain't lying to y'all, bruh. I'm gonna tell y'all the honest truth right now. This land been looking for me. I'm not just saying that, but see, this is something I'm saying that I've been striving away from saying because I know that y'all couldn't validate it. And I try to say things and show and present things that only y'all can validate, just like I'm validating. Y'all can validate it. I just showed y'all what an aviation radar is and the geometry of it. Y'all can validate that I just showed y'all that it's a weather radar and that it's so much stuff that I'm showing you can, but this land has been seeming so familiar to me. It's an odd familiarity, familiarity that I'm having, man. And I'm not just saying that. I can't explain it, but the muskiness, I like skies like that. The weather there, it looked like it feels so good there. And I'm just saying, it looked like somewhere that I could just take a nap at and just, it feels familiar. I don't know how to explain it, but I've been thinking about that a lot too. It's just, it feels like home. Like, I don't know how to put it. I ain't saying like it feel like home, but I'm saying like it just feel like a very, very familiar place to me. And that's the best way I can put that.
You booked a sunny Verbo ski chalet with endless views of snow-covered peaks, a stove that inspires magnificent hot cocoa,
One example of this is a simple Estrella design. Located on a hill of natural or perhaps artificial origin, the central stone used in this design is clearly visible.
Hey, y'all, listen real close because this is some more evidence right here, and I'm studying this evidence right here. I'm not even lying. How many squares is within every single one of my work? It's 28 of them, like I told y'all, right? Pay attention real close to the numbers that he used right here. And think about how I've been showing y'all doubling. That's what my stuff goes into, right? The doubling circuit, all of that is within my work. But 28 is the number. That's the first number he gonna say as far as the metrics. That's why I was telling y'all the metrics is very important too with this stuff. They know that somebody gonna measure that when they come and find it. Frequency and measurement, okay, and angles. That's one of the most important things that you know of. So
It is surrounded by 8 stones located in a circle. 8 rays radiate from this circle and stretch quite far. The stones are arranged at regular intervals in a 100-meter circle. Beams were constructed without any particular distance between stones. This is a similar design. It is constructed in much the same way. A small circle of stones is also visible, a subject that I will touch on later. This is what it looks like from ground level. Stones are centrally placed with a diverging radius. These are the simplest drawings of this type. Here is an entire group of figures that are drawn very close to each other. This design is much more complex. It contains...
Okay, I thought that was it. That wasn't the point though. It's on top. It's basically some circles that's made on top of a hill. And I saw that it's like that one back there kind of. So when you see he starts talking about the circles on top of a hill and he measures the first number he says is 28 for a fact. Inaccurate point. I thought that was it, but it ain't. That's my bad. My fault.
Much more detail. This is what the internal structure looks like. Crosshairs, corners, and lines are clearly visible around the large circle. Unfortunately, this design has been covered with sand. A lot of it has been lost, and it is no longer possible to create a detailed drawing. Nearby, there is a design which is very similar to the mandala shown earlier. This is how the center of this design looks like from the ground level. The lines of it are very similar to the traditional Nazca Lines. The next picture appears to represent concentric circles. These figures are approximately the same size. They are concentric circles that have diameters of 28, 56, and 112 meters.
Golly, who playing that music like that, bro? I ain't even heard that in a long time. Golly. I mean, that shit just playing out loud, like God, no bass or nothing. It's just but anyway, man, I'm finna you heard what he just said, right? I'm gonna play that back real quick.
The same size. They are concentric circles that have diameters of 28, 56, and 112 meters.
Okay. Now, last year at this time, when I was showing that to y'all, I was showing y'all how that's very similar when you look at it from another perspective. It looks like a huge eye. Now, I'm going to go to pull up my work real quick. And like I showed y'all and told y'all, every one of my work has 28 within it. Every single cubit. Every one of them. Because you got 10, 0 through 9 equals 10. If you count 0 as a place value, which is what we utilize it as in our everyday lives, you get 10 cubes on top. On the bottom, if you account for the same thing, you get 10. You get 1 and 0, and then 9 and 8. J Ma, shout out to you as well. 28, 56. Yeah, right. Doubling. Like, that's right. Right on point. You staying afloat. So you got 28, and then 28 is 56. And like you just mentioned, 112. Okay. So this really kind of, I ain't even thought about it like this, but golly, when you just, man, hold on, bro. Let me pull up my work real quick. This is crazy, man. That's it. See, it's too much similar. It get to a point where coincidences just ain't even in the question. Hold on. Okay. That ain't a good picture to have, y'all see. I need a good one with the center so I can count every single square. That ain't a good one either, because it's too faded looking. It ain't even done. I want to be able to count every square. We're going to count all the way up, bro, because that's crazy how, what's his name? Just dropped it. Todd, he just dropped it, man. He stopped at exactly the, I didn't even realize this. I'm just now realizing this. That ain't even a good one. Sorry. I'm just now realizing this, man. I need a good one, man. Oh, that ain't even a good one. I got so many pictures, man. I wish I would have put everything in folders like it needs to be. Can't do it now. Just got to start a new drive, because once you get to a certain point, it's like a hoarder's house, man. Shit, forget cleaning that mug out and just tear that whole thing down, bro. Period. That's the type of energy I got with this here, man, because I'm telling you, bro, forget that. Just build a new house, man. Ain't no point in even trying. It's going to take too much time out of your life. You could have been doing something else useful. But I'm going to scroll until I get to a good one. I know that. And it's taking too long. I can't believe I still. Matter of fact, I'm going to cut the chase. I'm sending one to me. My phone dead. Damn. All right, I'm going to have to just use one that I don't want to use then. I'm going to have to. I'll use the one that's faded for the heck of it. I don't need y'all thinking I'm jumping around because I'm scared. Y'all know that ain't the case anyway with shit anyway. Let me hold on. I forgot to let y'all know I'm OCD. That's why y'all see me draw so perfect as an artist, or at least try to, because OCD. Now we're gonna start over here from this side, and we're gonna make for sure that we count everything one direction so we don't lose nothing at all. And basically we could do it real easy. All I got to do is count one and do what? Multiply it by 4, right? I'm just showing y'all just so y'all can see. I know that y'all, if you smart enough, you've already done the math in your head and you like, wow, this dude, I'm just letting him show it. But if you smart, you already did it. 28 times 4 is what? 112. Hold on, watch this. All right, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna count the rim first for each one, and then we're gonna count the 8 in the center. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 20, 25, 26, 27, 28. We got 28. If we want to be just smart and cut the chase, 28 times 4 equals 112. But we just going to make sure we got it just for the sake of. We got 1, 2, 3. We're going to start at 0. 28, what we got now. So 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, and 56. We already got two of the same number, so we check mark. I'm telling you now. Thanks to Ty just answering that, we know what it is. But I'm just going to go ahead and hold up to my word. 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 60. This is crazy, man. 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75. I think I started from this one. 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83. 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 100. I missed one, so let me recount. 56 is what we had up here. We know that for sure. I got off track. We're going to start from this one right here. 57, 58, 59, because I know based on logic, it ain't 111 here. 57, because we have 56 up here. I missed one somewhere. 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84. I'm going to start up here and stop at 5. We got 84 so far. I know last time I counted that. Somehow I got 83, so I know I'm on point. 80, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112. No more to count. So we got it. We definitely got 112 there. Hold on, bro, because this is about to drive me into a seizure. I ain't going Man, I apologize, bro, but that happens when I get excited. Excited, period, man. When my emotions get very, very excited and stuff like that, that can happen sometimes. I ain't heavy on the medicine today, bro, but nigga, because I got a flash real quick before my face, man. Dude, what did they just show? He said concentric circles. Okay. I know bro, I got tears like a motherfucker right now, bro. I'm not even, and I'm trying to quit cussing, bro. I got it, bro. I'm on, bro. I don't know how or why, how I got chose. This all came from the subconscious, bro. But I know I got it. This right here just solidifies it even more because it's 3 circles, 3 concentric circles. If I go to the Nazca Sun Star, the main ones that you see is 3, you see circles within it, literally. And what did I say that the center of the sun star is? The center of that sun star literally is what you see on the screen. If I take the Nazca Sun Star and put it right on top, superimpose it right on top of my work, the both of them, it's the same exact thing. And nobody else has been able to do that. See, it's not just something that's, you can't even make that up. And the reason why that's significant, that's why I'm having these restreaming the stuff that I taught in the past for people who did not and were not here at that time, because y'all ain't seen the half of it, most of you. And at the end, thank you, Adrian. I appreciate that, bro. Thank you. I do. Real talk. And so every one of these is when you get to, now they stopped at 112. Think about that. So the last doubling number was 112. Bro, all 4 of these make 112, which without 4 of them, you would not have what? The full circle. The circles that's created by it. and the Nazca Sun Star. It's a communication. All of them is connected. That's one thing we know, they was made by the same people. Now the Nazca Lines, the stuff that's, you know, the geometric figures, the I mean, spiders and stuff like that, all of those, you know, the cartoon-like images and stuff, it's a question of whether they were made at two different times, because some of these lines is on top of the other. So you got to question things like that. But that's why I tell y'all, it's one thing in this life that you can, that can solidify stuff for you. And that's, bro, if mathematics comes out to be on point, you there. It's nothing that can go against that. See, no, this is stuff that people can't debate. Nobody can debate that. If you go out there and test for that, man, the only argument at this point is you ain't go out there and measure it yourself. I could give somebody that I ain't go out there and measure it myself, but that's why I'm putting my work out here so that I can get to that point. Because if anybody does need to be doing something like that, guess who you think probably should be doing it? The person who got this right here that nobody in history has created or had, because it obviously got some significance. So if any, I'm more qualified probably than these guys who have measured those Nazca lines. If anybody got the subconscious memory or capacity, potential to figure out what they're communicating, bro, is me. All I've been thinking about is trying to figure out more about the stars, because that's one thing I'm very dumb to. And that's where I'm learning in life. I'm at this next point in life where I got to learn about the hardest stuff that I ain't got no help in, don't know nothing about, the most complicated part of and that's up above. That stuff is very confusing to me. Astronomy. But it's for the once you get to, only the smartest of the smartest usually do get to that point of comprehending that. I'm not talking about astrology. They're two completely different. They deal with the same thing, which is the stars, but they're two completely different methods of going about something. They communicate in two different things. Math is geometry, is astronomy. Right on. That's right, because all of the constellations that they do make and everything, because it's more than so-called 12 constellations and everything. You know, the ones they do make is all made based on geometry. So, man, it's crazy. Y'all even, look, when I say it's crazy, y'all even here to see this happening and unfolding in front of y'all. That's why I'm telling y'all, bro. It's amazing how people can look at you and ignore something like you. And then next thing you know, I'm going to be one of, I got potential, even if I'm dead and gone first, which I hope not. But even if not, it's going to be a thrill, just like it was for in the past. A lot of people was bragging about, man, I know Corey. I know PR Corey, the one who met Snoop Dogg, smoked with Snoop Dogg. That nigga smoked with Snoop Dogg. A lot of people wish they could do that shit. Not only him, Wiz Khalifa. I'm big in that weed game, bro. It's a reason why they fucked with me. Y'all wasn't there. It's a reason why they did that, bro, because I'm big on that weed stuff, y'all, bro. Y'all ain't ready. Y'all ain't ready for that. I had seizures and stuff, bro, but I'm telling you, bro, I'm a heck of a expert when it comes to weed. That's why this right here got to deal with weed, because I studied weed. I literally looked at the growth of weed. And when I saw that my stuff had 13579 in the center upon growing, and I knew that you cut weed at a 45-degree angle when you clone it. Cloning is doubling. You know, all of this stuff got to deal with doubling. All of it comes back together. I knew that I was on point. It amazed me. So this right here, man, is more damning evidence, as they call it. This and I can't believe it, because this is something I looked over. I was thinking, and my mind was so focused on the eye that I was seeing. Because if you pay attention to those concentric circles that they're mentioning right there, they're just like the average measurements of the human eye. Your pupils. Think about your pupils. You got the dark pupil that's in the center, the very center. And then you got the somewhat bigger circle, which is your the iris, I think they call. I ain't studied the anatomy of an eye in a long time, but the colored part of the human eye. And then outside of that, the bigger / the last circle, which is where they stopped at, is your full eye. So that goes into where I was at last year, but I wasn't strictly on the mathematics. I looked over my own work last year and it was right in front of my face. That's crazy, bro. I'm gonna let this play though. I'll get back to it. Man, that's amazing, bro. I'm out of breath from that shit. That is crazy, dude. They've been right there the whole time. I know I got more studying to do. I looked over some stuff last year. Damn.
Concentric circles. These figures.
And think about how much land this is, too. This is a lot of land, bro.
Are approximately the same size.
Amazing.
They are concentric circles that have diameters of 28, 56, and 112 meters. We see that the center is drawn on the top of a small hill, and the circles themselves are constructed along the terrain. Just 100 meters away, or 109 yards, we discovered the exact same image constructed in what appears to be the exact same way. Here is its center, the first circle, then the second. And we also see how the largest of the circles was constructed. Why was it necessary to draw or create circles in such a complex way? Why was it created to begin with? Who was it created for? The circles do not appear to be perfect from images taken directly above it, but a lot of the perception depends upon the angle which the drone camera is shooting at. At a great height, the two circles appear to be correct. The greater the height, the more uniform the circles appear to be. What the purpose of this was, or who it was for, remains.
Now, see, that's the thing, bro. They keep on bringing up one point, who this was for, and they're not the only people that I catch doing that. I watch the ancient alien documentaries because these people who have done the Nazca Australia, these are the only people on the internet. This video that I'm playing by Umbio Productions, these are the only people on the internet that have filmed this, the other 19 stars. And that's why I've been saying about FPV Angel now. There was some guy, his name starts with an S and I think an H afterwards. He was on the previous video where I was live, I think yesterday or 2 days ago. And he mentioned FPV Angel. And one thing that I've been saying, part of why I haven't got on his channel is because I ain't gonna lie, it ain't fear. It's more so a respect type of thing and keeping a wall up because of respect, because I don't want it to seem like I'm downplaying or trying to deter his information or saying his information is full-fledged wrong. But what I can't do is get on there and show my stuff without that being shown, if you get what I'm saying. Because if I show him my stuff and explain my stuff to his audience, what is showing as well is that those other stars that they haven't been able to accurately explain, like they superimpose that one star, it's showing the expanse of what we're calling the Earth, bro. If this right here that I've been showing y'all is think about how I show y'all the North Pole map, and then the one that the Mercator North Pole map, as well as the one I've been showing y'all. That's why I've been showing y'all. It's showing you if the Earth, even if it ain't flat, it might be bigger than what we're being told to. It might is what, and that would mean more land. Okay. There's been talks about land falling and sinking into the ground. I also, and that's shown, I can pull up something for that. And that was amazing when I thought about that. I can pull up my work for that. Okay. Now this is I'm gonna first show this map right here. This is to explain this to people. Geometry, Earth measurement is what geometry, the word geometry means. The G in front of the in the square and compasses. That's what they'll tell you it means. It's geometry, God. Some of them will tell you that. But what I'm showing you right here, I'm not, don't focus on this, just focus on this map that I'm showing right here. Please. You got one land that's right here. if I asked you what's 90 degree or 180 degrees across from this land that's right here, you would make a straight line and go over here, right? Do we find a land? Yes, we do. That's Australia. This right here is one. If I said 90 degrees, that's 180 degrees. This is 90 degrees, right? This is right here. And this is Africa. Okay. Hold on. In the past, it's been talked about where there's a land in between what is said China and what is said to be over here within in the Pacific Ocean, basically. They talk about a land that has fallen. Whether it's, there's two lands that I know of. There might be more that y'all might know something I don't. Lemuria is one of them, and Atlantis is another one that's spoken of. There's so much land over here, and this is the exact approximate area where they say that happened, right up in this area, either over here or over here. Okay, why am I bringing that up? Because if you look at my work, everything is color coded as it is for a specific reason, not just for fun and not just to look pretty. I could have chose any color that I wanted to. I could have made 3 and 6 opposing colors. I made everything the same unified color for a reason. On my work, let's act like this right here is the first land we started at. And I say, let's see if we find a land, just like we find on that map I just showed. That's 180 degrees across from that. Earth, 8 green, earth, 8 ether, and the land sticks up out of the water. What y'all looking at, man, the reason why it looks the same from all angles and everything, because yes, this is laid flat, but what do they tell y'all as well? That the universe is flat. That's what they tell y'all. And when you talk about projection, things that are projected that look 3D, which is our reality, they're projected from a 2D screen. That's what y'all don't talk about as well. So you got to think about that. So there's a reason why this right here would go into not only being like an architect's flat surface, but goes into showing, the aspect of 3-dimensionality. Okay, so right across from that, you would have Australia, which is up here in that area, just like we had showed. And then Africa would be right here. This is if you tilted that to the same degree angle that the Earth was just shown there. And then up here, you would have this fallen land. It's kind of funny, it's right there where the nose is at, because a lot of ancient African stuff, we see what the nose gets knocked off. So if the land got knocked off right here, my nose would be knocked off, just like some of the ancient statues. Kind of funny. I thought about that a while back, just to be honest. But so that right there is something important to think about as far as the 1 and the 8, this whole land thing that I'm communicating is right here. The North Pole, the 4 lands, all of this stuff, the rivers and everything, all of that is right there being communicated. Now, I'm going to go back to the video for y'all. Amazing, man. Oh, yeah, let me see. I didn't. Just like the magnetic field has a void in the center, so does the eye. That's right. I didn't even think that the eye was, I thought they was just saying that it's like a hole. I didn't know that the iris or the pupil. I meant to say pupil earlier. That's what I meant to say. And then the iris, but I didn't think it was like an actual hole in the eye,
Unknown. Is another similar drawing or design. It also features a similar arc that traverses along a rather deep ravine and a very steep slope. The builders who constructed this design did not need to place it in this exact area. There was enough free flat space nearby. Distortions of a large circle passing along the bottom of the ravine are clear.
This is the one that I was talking about. Looks like an eye. The pupil is the pole, right on. Pupil, yeah. Yes, sir. This is the one I was talking about. Looks like an eye. It's kind of tilted at almost at a 45-degree angle to the right. That's what I was talking about. If you look at that right there, you can see where it looks like an eye that's right up on. This is the top of that eye that I'm talking about. It's real easy to see. I mean, if you really think about it, if you just color this right here black, color this some type of, left it brown, and then if you could fill this in to be white, can't nobody on earth tell me that it ain't an eye. And the eyebrow could be up here seen as that. You know, it's real easy to see. So that's why I was saying, that's what I was seeing last year. But I looked over all of that. I mean, I looked at that and looked over everything. I was just showing what the mathematical aspect of those concentric circles they was bringing up. So that's where I cut myself short. That's why it's good to rewatch stuff. You grow, as you know, everybody grows over time.
Clearly visible, and that's because of the angle of the drone's camera.
Я нашел 6 таких рисунков, нанесенных на подобный.
I found only 6 such drawings, 4 of which were applied to complex relief. Last year, when I gave a report on the Nazca Lines, I showed this diagram. It roughly shows the locations of estrella-like figures. On satellite maps, such images are practically invisible, and therefore it was made according to very indirect and imperceptible signs. It had been suggested that some of the estrellas could be connected by lines of stones. And this year, in February, I managed to make a trip and try to find the drawings in this place. Taking a trip like this was a risk. If nothing can be viewed from satellite maps of the area, it's quite possible that nothing will be found on the exact spot chosen for a closer investigation. The trip could have been a waste of time and not revealed much at all. This investigation would take us far away from the city of Nazca. It meant a trip across the entire Nazca Plateau, and then moving in the direction of the ocean using only local landmarks. There are no roads here. There are no bridges. If you wanted to cross this river, you had to wade across. Unfortunately, we had chosen a time of year where the river was quite full. There are no lifeguards here. One slip could result in disaster. Picking an area to wade across or ford the river wasn't always easy. This meant a lot of detours on trails that are very hard to describe as roads. It also requires a pair of good boots, as the investigation in this remote area required quite
Is that a military truck?
hard.
I'm going to say, because I know they ain't playing.
This meant a lot of detours
No, it wasn't. I was about to say.
on trails that are very hard to describe as roads. It also requires a pair of good boots, as the investigation in this remote area required quite a bit of walking. Fate, however, smiled upon us. We did eventually find the right spot to wade through the river and make it to the other side. We did eventually reach the spot we had been looking for. However, this trip was still a gamble. We suspected something might be here, but we really wouldn't know until we could get a view from above.
So y'all see them bones, man. And don't nobody care about your boy, bro. Don't nobody care what happened. Look here, man. Why is it human skulls out here? You know, that's crazy. That's something else.
This is the area we wanted to be at. There were piles of stones that were located very close to the entrance of this gorge. But were they placed there by someone else? Or were they just a natural part of the landscape? We still didn't know. But as we drew closer, the cluster of stones in what seemed to be giant arcs made by rows of stones against the uneven hillside revealed that this deserved closer investigation. As it turned out, the journey across the Nazca Plateau would not be a wasted exercise. We had found what we came to see. The first pictures and video delivered by the drone camera revealed an amazing picture. It's a figure of some sort that appears to resemble a star consisting of 8 rays and then a complex system of circles. Untouched by time and the elements, this intricate internal construction of this geoglyph features many different elements. The drone footage revealed shapes that can only be seen from above. Crosses, points, lines, and intricate corners. Several separate circles are visible here, and there is also a star-shaped structure at the top of the hill.
This all goes into what y'all seeing and everything. A lot of this right here, man, this goes into some very important, when y'all witnessing this right here happen before your very eyes. This goes into destiny, man. And when people judge you for where you're at or things that they don't like about you, that's personal, little nitpicky, stupid stuff, that earthbound stuff that, whatever you judging me stuff, is it going to affect the whole world negatively? No. So it's not worth really looking at me negatively for. It's not fucking up the whole world. At the end of the day, I'm spiritually watched, and that's why I just mentioned what I said. Stuff like this shows that I am being you would have to be being spiritually watched. Whatever our purpose of coming to this earth is and everything like that, everybody got their personal view or answer to that question upon being asked it, what's our purpose of being here? But I'm being spiritually watched. Literally. I mean, to the degree that's why, and when you say spiritually watched, that means that I'm saying that I have a destiny. I'm here for a reason, and I'm showing y'all that all of that alignment stuff, being in alignment and stuff like that, I'm very in tune with myself and in alignment. I might not be a meditating guru and stuff like that, but that's why I say y'all can't judge somebody for where they at. You can only judge them for where they display that they trying to go. I put most of my time showing y'all this type of stuff. I care less about what else y'all judge me for. Look, I don't care about what girl y'all see me fucking with and y'all want to judge me for, just to cut the chase. Fuck y'all. Just to be real, fuck y'all. 2 middle fingers up to you. When you got niggas out here who got a significant other that's 22 years and stuff younger than them, stuff like that going on, I don't care what y'all think about me. Literally. So you can take that home. I'm going to do what I do. I don't give a fuck how nobody feels. It is what it is. What matters more is the work that I'm doing for humanity. And that's what y'all see right in front of y'all. Literally. It's crazy how people get judged for stuff that got nothing to do with their purpose. This right here is evidence of destiny. I don't know about y'all and y'all purpose and what significant purpose y'all came here for. I don't know. I don't see too many people display their purpose. But I'm displaying mine. And it's something that's significantly going to help the world. with something they ain't ever known. Something they've never known. Shit, something I ain't ever knew. And all I can do is be amazed by myself and what I do. But all I know is it ain't gonna stop with me. I do feel like we living in some last times, some ending times, real talk. I do. So for a message like this to be laid in the ground and make it to what could possibly be the end is amazing. We know that the Mayans talked about stuff that would happen in the future. We know that for a fact. These are descendants of the Mayans that made this. So it's something about us in our blood. You know, if that got carried on with what they were doing, and this time that we living in, somebody would be trying to leave some type of message for the people that's of the future. Somebody would be responsibly trying to leave some type of message behind for the people that the descendants of us that's to come in the future. Straight up. I don't see nobody else talking about what methods we should go by doing it. But I've been telling y'all for the longest, that a great pyramid, starting the stone movement, putting stuff in stone, all of this stuff we talk about knowledge. What if y'all put it in stone? Because just talking about the GMO foods and all of the stuff that's happened, that's just talking. You put this certain stuff in stones, put certain rules and stuff like that in stone for people to see over the test of time, and where they can see the stuff that's happened to the land, that's the wrong that you shouldn't do, and not just hear it and the effects of it. That's something that's extremely important. And that's the movement that I'm starting, not just to create graven images, but to pass down knowledge to the future. That's what we should be focusing on, instead of focusing on money every day. Just money. Just get this money, focus on today. That's it. That's all that matters. Nobody's worried about or outland. See, the people who we look at as controllers and oppress us, so-called, they mind is in the future. Nobody could tell me I'm lying on that. They got technology years, and that's just the tech. These people's minds is in the future, and that's the advantage that they have over us, because by the time we get to where they already got something else planned. They've been thinking so far ahead that if you find a way to get out of whatever they got set up for you in this time, they already got a backup plan. So it don't matter what you do. They got something that they've planned for it. And that's the type of time that we got to be on. That's the type of method that we got to have to what we do. You got to be able to think ahead of time, but you see, the books like the Bible and stuff tell you divination is not good. That's what they tell you. Divination, seeking knowledge of the future and things like that, is not good. I'm not seeking knowledge of the future. I'm just leaving behind a message, important message for the future. And I see them as two different things. I'm leaving behind wisdom for the future, not seeking knowledge of the future and what might happen. So I'm going to let this continue to play and do its thing. It's halfway through. And they're going to give the count of how many it is. Like I mentioned to y'all, it's 19 of them. So when did COVID hit? It hit in 2019. I've been seeing that as very significant, because when I've talked about the Masonic encampment in the past and how their geometry is with that. It looks like the Nazca Lines, all of the geometry that they were doing. So if somebody figured out something and they said that the Nazca Estrella 45 means the second coming of the Messiah, is what Doug Krieger, and I'm waiting to have a conference with him. Whenever I get to talk with him, I'm actually going to air that here or on one of these channels, one of the two. So I'm anticipating on having a conversation with him so that I could directly get that answer that I've been searching for. Why does 45 have anything to do with the second coming of the Messiah? And furthermore, it's only one person on the planet who's been talking about that number. Furthermore, all of the Masonic symbology deals with the so-called Messiah. It just take you to realize that. Look at their tracing boards and all of that stuff. They got the name of, so I ain't gonna say the name and stuff like that, but it's all right there in front of people. I've been striving away from saying I'm a certain person because I don't see myself. That's why I question why. I don't know why me. I don't know how I figured out what I figured out. Why it's like I was chosen to figure out what I figured out. Destiny at that, so at the end of the day, I'm I'm not saying I'm the Messiah, but I've shown countless evidence where it lines up with it. Like I say, the tetra freaking grammaton, the angular measurements of it, same as my work. Jupiter and Saturn, number 4 and 5, same as my work. Stuff you can't make up. Can't nobody argue with it. Can't nobody debate it. I've always opened up. Several times I've held my floor open for days. It's never any type of art because people know they can't, man. It's always something personal. But like I say, the personal stuff people trip on is senseless anyway. Keeping it moving.
Is a whole group of previously undiscovered estrellas. Time and shifting winds partially covered the geoglyph with sand, and it also had been damaged by a nearby road. The true size and shape of this design is reflected in this reproduction. The solid and thick lines represent rows of stones. Thin, solid lines are drawn with a stick or foot. The dots are separate piles of stones. The dotted lines are virtual lines on which stones were placed in a regular manner. The star featuring 8 rays and the great circle form a single system. The circles on the right and the star at the top were most likely drawn separately.
Hey, bro, I ain't gonna, and I'm not gonna speak long here because I know the 2 people who dropped out probably got tired. They was like, this nigga going off topic and stuff. He, he good when you stick to the amazing stuff. Look, man, real quick, I'm gonna say this. I just got a thought that I just had. What if I don't think y'all ready for this. I got tears right now too. I ain't gonna lie, bro. What if this was and I know this might sound crazy. What if this was created in the future? That's crazy, dude. Like I just thought, what what if this was created in the future and because of a cataclysmic event happened? If there was a point on Earth that didn't get touched and there was no humans, I'm just thinking crazy right now, man. I'm not gonna even lie. Like I'm thinking of everything when it comes to this whole divination, time traveling type of stuff. Because either way it goes, this map that I am building is what this all links back to. That's what I know for a fact, and that's what I'm getting at. So it's either they would have to have had the map, literally, because the mathematics I just proved to y'all. Look, 112, bro. That's like I say, damning evidence on multiple points. You take the center of what they was, and it's the same exact thing. It's like they had the map, literally. I know I'm the first and only to discover what I've done in this time that we living in. That's why I've told y'all the only people on Earth that could have ever known it possibly was some type of ancient civilization. But I can't find out who, because I'm seeing where the Hindus, they got symbols that look just like the Chicana. But what I'm getting at and telling y'all and showing y'all is that even though those symbols look similar to my work, that's why I keep on expressing to y'all the very symbol that y'all see me drawing, the mathematics that you can do with that is secret. You can't do that with no other layout. That's why I've proved, and that's why I'm doing the streams like I'm doing now. Because one of my upcoming after streams is going to be me showing again for y'all, for the people who wasn't here, that you can only do it when you 4 sides, 5 build. And make the X in the center with 0 and 1 and 9 and freaking 8. Nobody ever did that. In that, when you do that, you can only do that with 0 and 0 through 9, period. I'm not just saying you can only do that, because when I tried to add even one more number, one more square to the grid and then overlay it on Nazca lines, it didn't work. The math didn't work. 45 degrees, it didn't work. I tried it. I tried to take one away, add a few, see if different. I experimented literally to see whether what I was showing was any type of special. Because if one thing's for sure, if it's not special, you're going to see something else that does something similar to it. If it's special, it's going to be the only thing that can do it. It's going literally, and that's exactly what it is. It's the only thing that you cannot do this with anything else. So they either had the map or somebody was destined. They knew some. That's where it all go back to that word, destiny. That's crazy, dog. So that's why I tell y'all there's something coming. That's why people feel like it's something bro. It is something coming, bro. Not in my people, bro. It's been a long time since we done special type of things, outstanding things. We make music and hip hop, bro. But I'm telling y'all, bro, we ain't got no culture for real. The shit that we wear, it all come from them folks. Mainly. The stuff that we it mainly come from them folks. Our houses we get built, it's mainly coming from them folks. Let's be real. We ain't got our own culture on this land like it was here. We can't, a lot of us imagine, and the stuff that it come from them painting out what they saw. We ain't got no culture like that. And that's all I've been trying to regenerate for y'all. This symbol right here ain't just for me. I just been wanting people to revere and give me my freaking credit, bro, because without me, it wouldn't be known, bro. It's being shown right in front of people. All I ask for is my credit. Beyond that, it's for everybody. Literally. Literally, to be known to the people of this time and of this land, and especially of my kind, but mainly for all of humanity, not just black people. Not just black, what we call black people. If you don't want to say black, brown, tinted, colored, whatever you want to call it, man. Just, it's for everybody. Period. Like I do what I do to help, not just, if educate ain't the word, man, I'm leaving behind something special for the future. That's why I said everything I just said about the future. It's about doing what you do for the future, man. And I know that I'm somebody, seeing stuff like this, bro, I can't believe this, dude. Every time that I watch back, and then I've learned something new to where I got to take that and I got to study more now. And I know for a fact now I got to do one of the hardest things that's ever going to be in my life. That's learn astronomy. Goodness. I mean, become an expert at it too. Not just play around with it. I got to become an expert with this right here. This line I wanted to mention this line is not at 45 degrees. That right there is not at the halfway point in between this and this. This one is, but this one right here is not at 45 degrees. There's something being communicated with that for it to be off like that. This one is right here, but they don't follow it through. So they're showing that something is moving right there to this, from this point to possibly up, I don't know. And there's another radar type of thing out here too. So a big, huge picture needs to be taken of all of this, and all of it needs to be compiled into one. And from that point, what I sense is if you overlay that on my map that I've been drawing out, something significant might happen. It'll also reveal the scale that my map is viewing. And then from that point, logistically thinking, that will also help you measure out the earth from that point. Because facts, I mean, just because that once they already got it measured out for me. How many miles and the whole Nazca circumference and everything is, that's already measured out. So from that point, what's being shown in that's all going to help measure geometry, literally, earth measurement. And I literally use a symbol that I discovered that I've been saying countless times is the square encompasses the real meaning of it that nobody's been putting out. The real meaning of it. And that's why they can't even argue with it.
Interestingly, the two circles on the right have approximately the same slope and proportions as the circles on the tourist estrella, which was shown at the very beginning of the report and which is located miles away from this place. It is assumed that the authors of both estrelas are the same and that the people who constructed these figures pursued a specific goal. There is another important detail to consider. The thick gray dotted line in this illustration represents the center line of the piles of stones that runs through the gorge and connects all estrelas into a single combination.
3, 2, 1.
Engaged? It's love.
Here come the skeletons crawling out your closet.
That in this illustration represents the center line of the piles of stones that runs through the gorge and connects all estrelas into a single combination.
See, that's them giving the, this is the map. See, that I just mentioned, this is as closest right now that I could get to the map and seeing all of them. So this right here, the first one, the first estrella that y'all had saw, because he keep on saying estrella too, like 2 L's. It ain't in Spanish, 2 L's comes out to be pronounced as like a Y. So it's really estrella. He keeps pronouncing it incorrectly. But 19 of them is how many you see, as you can see right there. He's also going to mention this black square that's right here in between the 3 and the 4. But that's the full count that you can see right there. 1 through 19. I just mentioned in 2019 was the year that this, and that's also when I started to show all of this, 2019. I started to show this main discovery in 2019. COVID-19 came out. COVID also means cover. Don't know if y'all think about that. It's so many different. When it first came out, people were saying coronavirus identification, and then what's his name? A big channel. What's his name? Ralph Smart just recently said that COVID means something else. He came up with another acronym for it to stand for. When it comes down to it, I'm not saying, and I'm not definitively saying that this right here is the COVID-19 and this right here. I'm really speculating on that right there. But it's just so much of that's what I consider a coincidence. 2019, this happened. Then we got 19 of these. The whole Masonic encampment thing I was showing y'all in the geometry with that. And this is basically made just like that. All of these different encampment sites of where, you know, this geometry is at. It just makes a lot of sense that, you know, like, and then the second coming of the Messiah thing I've been talking, you know, it would make a lot of sense. I was saying that COVID, you know, the way that they came out with this thing is almost like a code red, like some type of secret society or something came out with some type of code red to shut stuff down. That's what I was saying. It's almost like that's what this is. It's a code red type of thing going on. But I'm going to go ahead and continue to play this, though.
The next map shows a similar scheme involving large numbers of geoglyphs. 19 estrelas, or groups of estrelas, are united by a common line running along the bottom of this gorge and uniting all geoglyphs into a single combination. The total length is about 5.5 kilometers, or nearly 3.5 miles. At the 18th figure, however, the center line does not continue. The only exception to the diagram is the second geoglyph. It is off-axis and consists of 2 layered images. One design is lined with rows of stones and resembles the central part of the tourist estrella. There are a large number of crosses and stones here, which appear to have been put into place as markings. This represents the
other thing to consider about that number 19 is 1 and 9 equals 10. It comes out to be 1 and 0, just like the other numbers that was just shown, or the number that was just shown, starting from 28 with the concentric circles. 2 plus 8 equals 10, 1 plus 0. So it's adding that 9 from 19 and then adding 9, you're going to get 28. And this number 9 is what all of this work comes out to dealing with. So you got 19 with that sense, and you got 28 and doubling from there. So I thought about that just now too, that 1 and 0 binary code things comes back with the number 10.
Coordinate grid for the second and possibly incomplete Mandala design, which has been drawn by tracing over the surface. The following represents a sketch of these unique designs. It is interesting to note that these designs are rotated in a relative way to each other by 1.5 or 2 degrees. Many estrellas, which we have seen and will see, have small inaccuracies. This may be largely due to the carelessness and imperfection of the builder's tools, but it is also quite possible that sometimes asymmetry was introduced by the builders deliberately. The reason for this is unknown. Number 3 is similar to the design that was shown earlier. It represents a star that is connected to the opposite slope of this gorge with a ray. There is a circle on this line, which is divided into 16 parts. And this is what the other slope looks like. A stick or post is clearly visible on the star, which could have been used in its construction or played a role in the use of this geoglyph, providing it was constructed with a use in mind and was not designed to be artwork or the work of someone's vivid imagination. This design shows that the center line passes in the shape of a circle. The next geoglyph is number 4. This design looks much different from the previous examples. There are whole systems of symbols at work here, which may have a definite or important meaning. The quality of the design itself may also be significant. This example shows another unique sign in the form of 2 squares. They appear to be rotated relatively to one another and make up the central section of the mandala. For simplicity purposes, we'll call it a center or bud. Another noteworthy sign is how the axial lines interact with the geoglyphs. One line appears to go through the circle in an almost tangential or digressive way. The next axial line starts from the border of the center or the bud. This is geoglyph number 5, representing the bud and circles. The axial line here is still clearly visible. It stretches to geoglyph number 4, which has already been examined. At this location, the gorge becomes very narrow and makes a small zigzag feature. The estrellas here appear to carry a number of designations, such as possibly designating the turn of an axle. The next group is also unusual, consisting of a bud and triangles. The location of the triangles appears to indicate the slopes of the gorge itself. The next geoglyph is also a bud and triangles that appear to point along the gorge to the nearest open location. This is unlike any other estrella, since the triangles appear to indicate turns in the gorge itself in the narrowest of areas, as if it were almost designed for aircraft entering or departing the area. The shots taken from the overhead drone at least seem to show this is what the triangles may have been for. A sketch of the 5th and 6th geoglyphs reveals another interesting feature. The adjustment of the angles of the geoglyphs to the axial lines is clearly visible. But what purpose did it serve? The 7th design is remarkable, in that the bud is superimposed on the triangles. There are several other geoglyphs that are remarkably similar to each other. The 10th design represents a simple bud that appears to mark an axial break. Other remarkable finds may reveal clues about when the geoglyphs were made, and possibly why. The 8th design, for example, has many prints or tracks that were made across it at a later date. Some of them belong to modern motorcycles which have traversed this area, such as the clearly visible trail on the 9th geoglyph. However, many of the tracks also appear to be uneven and may not have been caused by modern transport. It may be possible that an old road from an early Spanish colonial period passed through this section of the gorge. Large fragments of pottery from the colonial period, possibly made with a potter's wheel, could be found throughout the gorge. Footprints going over and through the geoglyphs are also easy to spot. They could have been made before or after the Spanish conquest. Other indications include pottery or ceramic that were not made with a potter's wheel. They were discovered.
This is the one section out of this whole thing where I've heard footprints be mentioned, like I mentioned earlier. So that there in itself is significant for this section. So at least they talked about them there. But I mean, the other places, my goodness, man, that's the vast majority. We're talking about now Maria Reich, or however you pronounce her last name, rest in peace to her. She's the lady of the lines. That's the Spanish lady who used to take care of the Nazca Lines. She was actually a mathematician as well. And she took care of the Nazca Lines and kept them reserved and kept them up and everything. But for them to have actually been in such good condition, even before she even came around, that stands out to me. Up until her time, I don't think that even that area was like inhabited like that, because it's desert, as people can see. But yeah, man, I wanted to shout her out because she is the original person who was the mathematician of the lines.
Discovered on the geoglyph sites as well, which means they could have been made before European invaders arrived in Peru. A more accurate estimate of the time period in question could also be obtained by carbon dating tests on the half-rotted poles, which can often be found on the Estrellas. We sent our drone camera to fly over the axial line, which clearly reveals how it was made. There are heaps of stones here, interspersed with short lines. The 17th Estrella that we looked closely at is somewhat different from its predecessors and creates even more questions. It has an irregular structure, and many of its details are not comprehensible at this point. Further investigation and study here may yield additional answers. The schematic drawing of the Estrella provides a clearer picture. This design is connected by a straight line with what appear to be several figures. This would seem to imply an overall plan for this design. This may be a large group of several Estrellas that are each more than 1 kilometer or a little more than a half mile in size. It is crossed by several diameters on which short lines are clearly visible. From the ground level, this diameter is barely visible, but from above, it begins to take on an entirely new shape that appears to serve some sort of purpose. Stones were discovered on the slope. A row of stones were also found passing through the center of the geoglyph. which, by the way, looks incomprehensible and sloppy from the ground level. Further, the line passes through the center and stretches to the opposite slope and even slightly across the plateau. This is the end of the entire Estrella group. After the 18th, neither axial nor other geoglyphs were found. However, the area still merits further investigation.
Repeat after me. Today is the first chapter of my next great love story.
Today is the first chapter of my next great
Love story.
In addition, Estrellas have been spotted in other areas, one of which is not all that far away from the Estrella Gorge. While it may be close by, it does not appear to be connected with the axial group. This Estrella is also not visible on satellite maps and is nearly impossible to see from an airplane. It was discovered by complete chance. This is the most complicated Estrella that has been discovered to date. Moreover, after editing this video, it became clear that this was only part of what is likely a much larger picture. Even with the limited pictures and videos, it appears that the people who designed this had some specific plan or project in mind. By this, I mean that they knew exactly what they were building and designing and why. There are a lot of...
See, this right here is design, man. You can definitely tell that it's some type of design for something to be. It's dealing with the stars, of course. It just makes you speculate and question, were they actually going to build right there in that spot? That's what it really will make you think. But of course, as one would start building in that spot, the lines would diminish and disappear due to the footprint or feet activity of so many people transversing over the dirt. So when it comes down to it, it's hard to question whether they was just mapping out the stars or you're doing something to build there, But just based on what I just said, I would lean away from building something there actually on site at least. It's just questionable. It makes you think, maybe it was an issue with paper as well, because before you can use paper, you draw stuff out on land. One of the surfaces that an artist could draw on is the land itself in the dirt. So if these was made in the time before paper was invented or arrived in the area, that would make sense too. The Nazca people did not have a written language. That's the thing about them. So that would make sense. The Nazca people didn't have a written language. So if they didn't write anything down, that would mean that they didn't have paper. And if they didn't have paper, they would have to draw their stuff out on surfaces, which I would guess would be, surface like we see right here. That would make a lot of sense too. But I'm not going to conclude on
markings and other small details around this Estrella, which serves to partially conceal it. The design, like many similar others, is applied over the ancient Nazca lines. Axis lines emerge from the figure, which may possibly end in other figures. Some diameters appear to go far enough, hundreds of meters away. This creates questions about who did this and why it was done. And it would be quite natural to talk about their authors and purpose. However, this will be part of another investigation. There are layers of these designs that are still being discovered. We know where some of them are, but not all. In all probability, there are a lot more, and they raise new questions. In this diagram, for example, You can clearly spot a dark square between numbers 3 and 4. This is also a large image with an axial line that passes through it. It appears to belong to another mysterious group and type of geoglyphs. These include to another with an axial line that passes.
I'm gonna unmute right here. I'm gonna pull up my screen share, and this is where I'm going to end it. As you can see that right there. I'm gonna pull up my screen share real quick, and I want y'all to consider 112, right? We just counted those, and there was 112, right? I see y'all coming back in, man. I know y'all been watching and just looking at the chat, reading the comments and reading the captions and everything. I'm gonna end it right here. Thing is, y'all know, based on seeing that on the screen, that reminded y'all of something. And I'm pulling it up. And that's exactly what it is. It's not by chance. Like I say, this ain't no coincidences. I know I'm on to the truth. Now, what is at the center of my work, man? Amazing. If you simplify what that is to the core, based on line, computer being slow now, waiting on it to zoom in. I guess that's the farthest. It can't be the farthest. We was in farther earlier. So if I could, I would just, and they advanced the tech, I would just snapshot this, pull it together, and photo grid it, both of them together to where y'all can see both of them at the same time. But I'll flip back to that one real quick in just a second. As you can see right here, you got a square that is to be made with these right here. Perfect square. And then you also have it's basically 4 squares. And those 4 squares are cut up into an X, each of them. And they also have a line that goes through the center, 45 degrees in each of them to make a. So you got a big X, and you got these lines that go straight down the middle, in between, halfway, a square in the center, basically. This square that it makes in the center, which is exactly what the Nazca corners, which I'm saying, if you superimpose it, that's exactly what it is. That's not by chance. That's 3 big things within here that I just showed that's fact-based, mathematically to the core correct, that I can't make up, man. So there it is. We got a big X coming down this way. Another one coming down this way. They messed up right here, it looks like, because they got one line coming down and it was off. But you got another line going down and it makes a square. That's exactly where my work is at, the center point, them points, the zoom in points. And you got the core. It's no joke, man. And I replayed this stream for people. I got another channel where I, practice doing way more professional talking and stuff like that. I really made this channel just for comfortability, of course, putting out the knowledge and everything, but in a very comfortable way. Not to be uptight and super perfect with everything. That's why I don't really focus on just doing it like a perfect teacher over here, presentation, all of that type of stuff. That's to come when I'm financially, right with that, to present stuff how I want to, create documentaries, even write books, because that's the level of work. That's the level that my work literally is on, to write a book about this stuff, man. Like, no joke. If I don't, somebody gonna try. That's a fact. If I don't, somebody gonna try down the line when I ain't here, because they know that they can't do it while I'm here. They ain't gonna do nothing but help me get money, period. I could sue the shit out of somebody at this point, because you can't write about what I'm talking without actually providing the symbol and the art that I've created, which is already copyrighted. It's already in the system. So therefore, anybody they just gonna give me some money. That's it. They're gonna help me get to where I'm trying to cut me off, or it'll help me get to where I'm trying to get faster. That's all I know. So at this point, it's not any type of coincidence. I made this video so that people who are not around here, you not lacking on nothing. You know the significance of my work because you've seen it just like everybody else. You know what it entails and what it's going into. So when you hear me speak of or bring up the Nazca lines, I'm not just talking about the birds and the other geometric things that were drawn. I'm talking about Nazca Estrella, something that's beyond and foreign to what most people already know. So now y'all are informed just that much more about what's going on and the overall direction that I'm going with this channel. Excuse me. And next, what I'll be doing is talking about the degrees of a circle, because that's what this goes into too. Okay. And how that was discovered and why 360 degrees is in a circle. I put that in the description. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this one end here, man. I'm not gonna keep this going long at all. I'm gonna stop this one. Thank everybody who did come through.